What is up, Earth's mightiest subscribers? It's Ernie Blerd without fear. Welcome back to the channel. Today's video is yet another reward for the bail project fundraiser that I did throughout the month of June. And this one is a very special request because this isn't so much a character breakdown as it was a topic that was requested for me to talk about. And it's going to be about a comic that I've never really talked about, if at any point ever, actually, on this channel. And it's a little comic, Sam Wilson, Captain America, Volume 3, Civil War II, by Nick Spencer and Daniel Acuna. And this particular volume actually covers issues number 9 through 13 of the Sam Wilson Captain America series. And the reason why we're talking about this one is not because it has anything to do with Civil War II, but actually because there's a particular part that's going on in this story that when I went back and kind of reread it, not only did I see some ties that are going to be probably incredibly obvious to the Falcon and the Winter Soldier series that's coming out on Disney Plus, but also some things that are very eerily similar to what's going on right now. Anyways, we're going to talk about all that and more right now. But first, wash your damn hands. And let's hit that intro.
Word to wise, grass only greener when it's fertilized. Gave them truth in these songs, they prefer to lies. Destiny beautiful, adrift in her purple lies. You can't see me, you Stevie, wondering how I reach more evolutions than Evie and make it look easy.
Before we get started, if you want to see more awesome comic book videos like this one, it only takes 2 clicks to become one of Earth's mightiest subscribers. Click.
To kind of get a little bit of understanding into what is going on, you kind of need to know a little bit of the history that was going on with Sam Wilson becoming Captain America. I'm not here to rehash that. I did a video on that way back when I first started this channel, not rehashing here. I'll link that video. It's old and hardly anybody ever watched it, but if you decide that for whatever reason you just want to, you can go do that, whatever. But all the explanation as to why Sam Wilson is Captain America at this particular point, it's in that video. What you need to know going into the series is that Sam Wilson is still fresh into his run as Captain America, and no one wants him to be Captain America, at least outside of the Avengers and Captain America himself, Steve Rogers. Everyone else is just giving him so much flack, and it's kind of funny because this actually mirrors the backlash and fan outrage that happened when this was actually announced in real life. So it's very telling. But yeah, Sam is dealing with a lot. He's trying to be the best version of Captain America he can possibly be. He wants to live up to the name. He wants to live up to the mantle of Captain America that has been passed down to him. However, he is constantly beset upon on all sides by doubt, fear, insecurity, and just letting other people get inside his head. And all of this on the backdrop of a second superhero civil war in the Marvel Comics universe, and just everything just goes squirrely. But the reason why this is relevant is because just so happens about roughly this time, an organization called Keen Industries creates this privatized police initiative called Themericops. Funny thing about the Themericops is this is actually all stemmed from another character that was also named Themericops. Like, this is supposed to be like an homage as far as Keen Industries is concerned. They bought the rights to this person's name and likeness and are basically using his guise to fuel their police force. This police force of presumably superpowered super cops. They're basically RoboCops. This is also the same Themericops who made his first appearance in Captain America number 426 back in 1994. That particular version of Themericops, he had a suit that basically gave him super strength and all that good stuff. So I'm assuming it's roughly the same here. And the Themericops are basically what you think they are. In the very beginning, they kind of tried to play it off as oh, this is a benevolent organization and they're just doing the best they can. They're trying to, help out these people and help them in these crime-ridden areas. It's like, no, that's actually not the case. Keen Industries was actually taking these, Themericops and putting them in areas, low-income areas, urbanized areas, predominantly poor and black and brown neighborhoods and basically letting them run roughshod. Not to mention the Themericops, they were incredibly racist. They tend to focus a lot of their police brutality, their excessive force, deadly force, even in cases against black and brown individuals. This isn't even like a guess. This is what is happening here. Hell, even the president of the organization, even he is aware of this. He knows this is what's happening. This is by design. The reason why this was happening was they were actually lowering crime rates, mostly because they were actually causing people to leave those areas. People were starting to abandon their homes in these neighborhoods where they were, is part of the reason why the crime rate went down, because there was no one to perpetrate crime against. And what ultimately winds up happening is that King Industries comes in, buys out the homes and the buildings and the businesses that have now gone vacant, and basically gentrified them. It's kind of amazing to me because this story is so relevant right now, and it was relevant then at the time it came out, because this book, if I'm not mistaken, did drop in 2016. Yeah, it's wild how they did this. A lot of people don't like Secret Empire as a story, but honestly, Secret Empire is a very, I don't want to say real thing, because I mean, it deals with a lot of hokey cosmic cube shenanigans and magic and whatnot and what have you. Just the idea of what the story was trying to tell you, the social, economic, and political commentary was trying to tell you was actually very spot on and real. I think a lot of people, probably even hated it even more because of that. I even talked about it when I did my video breakdown series of Secret Empire, the fact that I didn't particularly care for the ending of Secret Empire, but I loved everything leading up to it. And if it tells you anything, just how bad, speaking of Secret Empire, just how bad the Themericops were, they were even used in Secret Empire by Baron von Strucker. Everything hits a fever pitch though when former Avenger Rage, who, for those who are not familiar with the character Rage, he was a kid, like a preteen kid who basically fell into some toxic sludge, and it basically increased his growth cycle. They basically put him in peak physical human condition and super strength and all that other good stuff. And of course, by virtue of what his name might tell you, he also is very angry because, yeah, that's how they made black characters back in the late 80s, early 90s. Point of the matter is, Rage just trying to lead the people in the city in a protest against the Themericops. And when Sam Wilson tries to intervene, the Themericops turn on even him, claiming that he is basically obstructing justice. And it turns into this whole big to-do. And it just so happens that the same government, the same people in government who are trying to take down Sam Wilson and get the shield away from him and get it back to Captain America, or somebody they want to be Captain America, they wind up calling in the U.S. agent. You know who I'm talking about, John Walker, a guy who is kind of problematic in his own right. This is a guy who is basically like right-wing Captain America. I always think of Captain America possessing both moderate and progressive views in terms of what he thinks of politically as he navigates the political arena. I always think of John Walker as just straight up pure, unadulterated right-wing, maybe even libertarian, which I think is actually even worse than right-wing in some cases. But I kind of feel like that is where U.S. Agent falls. And though U.S. Agent has no interest in taking down Sam Wilson, he does change his mind when he sees him fighting the Themericops. Now, of course, U.S. Agent coming into the fight, trying to take down a whole ass Sam Wilson, doesn't really work out for him. Like, don't get me wrong, yeah, he has superhuman strength and all this other stuff and superhuman durability, but Sam Wilson's no slouch in a fight either. It's actually funny how Sam Wilson kind of, maybe he takes some licks at first, but he handily whips that ass on the U.S. agent. And it's funny because everything that's going on here just seems to be the storyline for what's going to be in Falcon and the Winter Soldier. I feel like this is the blueprint for that. The government, because we already know the government doesn't want Falcon to be Captain America in that series, just like it is here. It's taking a lot of nods from Nick Spencer and Daniel Acuña's Sam Wilson Captain America. I actually think this is the blueprint for the entire season that we're gonna see of this series, bringing in U.S. Agent to try and take this guy down and to stand in as Captain America, as their Captain America, while at the same time trying to discredit Sam Wilson. I mean, just all of this, like, you sit here, you look at the things that they're saying, some of the things that they're talking about, you're just like, oh my God, this is some of the most small-minded, some of it is just, some of it's straight up racist, some of it's actually kind of veiled racism. It's like one of those things where it's like, this is how comfortable racists, talk around each other. You racists who don't think that they're racist, or try and claim that they're not racist. Oh, it's not about his color, it's, it's about something else. And the thing is, they keep talking about how, oh, he's dividing the country, he's dividing the country, he's dividing the country. No, you guys are dividing the country by trying to put him on the outs. And they're trying to use Old Glory, the time that, U.S. Agent happened to be Captain America for all of like 2 seconds. They are trying to use that as, some kind of way to try to be like, oh, hey, you should be the one to bring him in. Not only is this going on, I know this was kind of like the main thing that, the Themericops was kind of like the main meaty part of the story. But the other thing I think is very interesting about this comic is how it deals with the fact that the government doesn't want Sam Wilson to be Captain America. The general public itself, they don't want Sam Wilson to be Captain. You see people walking around with signs saying, not my cap, hashtag give back the shield, and all this other stuff. They're even going after Sam Wilson for taking on a sidekick who they oust as being an illegal immigrant. The current, well, technically not the current Falcon, but one of the other Falcons, because Sam Wilson is Falcon again, but there is another Falcon who is Latinx. They pretty much clown him about, being an illegal immigrant. And they're like, oh, he's an illegal, and this wannabe Captain America's traipsing around the globe with this illegal immigrant and trying to up jump him and all this other stuff. It's like, oh my God, dude, this stuff is crazy. They try and call Sam Wilson anti-American. They go out of their way to slam him on social media and on the news and in public. It just... But long story short, I just really liked this story arc. I mean, this volume kind of ends on a very interesting note, because after the fight between Sam Wilson and as Captain America versus U.S. Agent, it's one of those things where Sam Wilson can't please everybody. Rage thinks that he's a turncoat because he's not fully, or doesn't seem to be fully, on black people's side, because he wasn't trying to shut down the Themericops with his fist. Rage is calling him a sellout, basically comparing him to the Obama years when everybody thought, oh, we got a black president and everything's gonna be different, everything's gonna become Wakanda all of a sudden, and it didn't, because people didn't realize that Barack Obama was not the progressive that he sold himself as. And don't get me wrong, I think Barack Obama is a nice enough person, but he sold, just like most politicians, he sold the world a bill of lies, just like every other politician does. The only difference was he was a lot nicer about it when he did it. Now, the thing is that that's kind of what he's accusing Sam Wilson of the same thing, that people thinking, oh, we have a black Captain America, everything's gonna be Wakanda in the United States now. And it's like, no, that's not the case, because he is trying to be a Captain America for everyone. It also kind of goes back to that old saying that, when you try to please everyone, you wind up pleasing no one. And that's kind of what's happening. Don't get me wrong, I completely understand what Rage is trying to say. He's actually the most eloquent I think Rage has ever been in his entire life. And I think this is largely due to the fact that Nick Spencer is writing him. I hate the whole both sides argument, but I can actually kind of see both sides of the story here. And I think that's kind of what Nick Spencer wants you to see. He wants you to see what Rage is saying, and to the fact that Rage is making some points. But on the other side, Sam Wilson does kind of have the right idea too, just maybe not in everything, but maybe in some things. That my thing is, you're not supposed to 100% agree with anyone, real or fictionalized. You're supposed to kind of be able to see some fault with something that they say. Like, even for me, there's people who get in my comments and say, oh, well, I'm sorry, but I disagree with you. Why be sorry? Because I don't care. I would be mortified if everybody agreed with me on anything. Now, there's a difference between agreeing or disagreeing with me on an opinion versus a fact. If you disagree with one of my opinions, that's fine. If you disagree with me on a fact, that's the only time I'm probably gonna be like, nah, you're an idiot. Because if it is in fact a fact and you disagree, that means you were perfectly okay with being wrong. But at the end of the day, Sam Wilson gets an idea, and basically what he wants to do is he pretty much sets up himself as a surveillance system thanks to Tony Stark. He is being outfitted with a surveillance device implanted into him that will pick up what he sees and hears through his psychic ability to communicate with avian creatures, to communicate with birds, and basically use it as a surveillance device. We immediately find out, what exactly he is wanting to use it for. Basically, he's decided that he is going to be more active with the Themericops Themericops. You know, he does admit that he wishes that him and US Agent could have figured things out a little more differently instead of it having to come to blows like most superhero interactions usually go when they cross paths with one another. He also reveals that, yeah, he can't speak for the Themericops as a whole, but he can speak for the Themericops that are in his backyard, and he is going to hold them accountable. He has taken note of the fact that they are over-policing and being excessive in their force against black and brown people, and more importantly, they are profiling people just so they can perpetrate these police brutality crimes. And using the device that he has implanted in himself now, he actually can keep up with that. He will be able to see, using his psychic link with birds, he will be able to see the Themericops anytime he wants. And that's exactly why he got that implant. And he'll also be able to use that surveillance footage that he records from his avian brethren to use against them in a court of law. Whether or not that actually would work out is another story altogether. And then, of course, when it all ends, we learn that, yes, even though US Agent decides that he doesn't want to be a part of this little boys club to take back the shield from the current Captain America, we learn that it is in fact Captain America who was behind all of this all along, Steve Rogers. However, this is not our Steve Rogers. This is in fact Hydra Cap, because by the time this is all going on, Steve Rogers had long since had the super soldier serum drained from him, and then having been restored thanks to Cubic, I believe, if I remember her name correctly. And of course, Captain America going through all the BS and cloak and dagger, smoke and mirrors bullshit, because he knows just as well as anybody else that a white man trying to tell a black man he can't be Captain America anymore ain't really that good a look. And even though in his own head he thinks that what he's doing, like he thinks that he's, you know, enacting this take back the shield initiative from him, it's coming from a place of good, it actually isn't. This is all set up leading in to Secret Empire. It's all the setup leading to it. And yeah, this all technically, yes, this all kind of comes around full circle into being something that's very topical for today, and yeah, I'm here for it. I think it's great. It's a thing of beauty. You know, I know a lot of people have their issues with Secret Empire and the, you know, Sam Wilson's Captain America and Nick Spencer's run on Captain America with with Sam Wilson at the helm, whatever. That's not what I'm here to talk about. I don't really have that many problems with any of those things, so I'm probably the worst person to tell it to. But that said, I am often curious what people think. So that's why I always ask for the opinions and for you to sound off in the comments like I'm about to do right now. Let me know what you thought about Sam Wilson, Captain America, Volume 3, Civil War 2. Wash your damn hands and sound off in the comments. So hey, you made it to the end of the video. Awesome for you. If you enjoyed this video, and if you made it this far, I don't see how you didn't, do me a favor. Hulk smash that like button. And if you want to see more awesome videos like this one, make sure you click subscribe so you can become one of Earth's mightiest subscribers, and tap that bell so you know when I post up. Also, feel free to go check out my Patreon, where if you chuck in $1, you can get early access to most of my videos up to a week early. And if you have time, make sure you swing by nerd901.com, where you can find more of my content as well as other amazing stuff. Anyways, until next time, I love you 3000 plus ultra.